Hi viewers, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to show you a different test route today. This is what we call an extended test route. Now, from time to time, some people that present themselves for test have maybe had previous penalty points for whatever reason and had their licence surrendered as part of their punishment. And as a result of having to try and get that back, they might have to present themselves for an extended test. Now, an extended test takes about 60 minutes in duration, and therefore is slightly longer than your normal L test, which is about 40. And as far as I'm aware, there are a couple of extended test routes from Irvine Test Centre, and I'm going to show you one of them today. So I'm just going to wait for the street cleaner to pass us. And we're going to start with a bit of sat-nav driving. So we're going to follow the sat-nav for the first part of this, which will probably still be about 20 minutes of even if it's an extended test route, but it could be longer.
Enter roundabout, then take first exit.
So at the roundabout we're asked to take the first exit, internal mirror, left door mirror. As I approach the roundabout and put my signal on, I can see there's a 40 limit. Traffic from the right might be going faster than I expect them to because they have an open view of the roundabout and they can emerge quite often onto this roundabout at speed. So a good couple of checks to my right hand side there. Make sure it's safe to proceed.
Enter roundabout, then take first exit.
So same again, internal mirror, left door mirror, signal left for the first exit. Safe to proceed at the moment. Staying on the outside, putting my signal back on as it cancelled itself too early. And into a national speed limit. So this is an acceleration lane to join the dual carriageway. So as I approach the emerging point, it's internal mirror, right door mirror. I lean forward.
Then take third exit.
I lean forward into my my right door mirror just to see that bit more behind me. And I'm moving into the right hand lane to take the third exit of the roundabout as well. Keeping my signal on because I'm close enough to the roundabout to do so. Squeezing my brakes so as I approach the bend and approach. A good view to my right, it's clear to proceed into third gear, make that progress into the right hand lane. Hugging the curb line of the roundabout, not too close to touch. Taking the next exit, so internal mirror, left door mirror, signal left, get across to your exit lane. And take the first lane of the exit road. So this is an acceleration lane again to another part of a dual carriageway. Cancelling the signal, checking my mirror, make sure nobody's overtaken as I build my speed up. So two lanes become one here. And then checking my internal mirror, right door mirror again, lean forward, looking into my right door mirror just to open up my view a bit, and adding in a blind spot check as well.
Drive 2 miles, then exit left.
The blind spot check when you're merging from a slip lane into a dual carriageway or a motorway, it doesn't need to be a full blind spot check over your shoulder when you're pulling away from the curb line, but enough of a sideways glance just to make sure there's no one in that first lane that you're merging into. Remember, you do have blind spots on the move. Now I've got a slow moving vehicle in front, so I'm going to wait for this white car to overtake, then check my internal mirror, right door mirror, easing off the gas as I move out, because I still don't want to be too close to the white car as I move into the same lane. Leaving a 2-second gap where possible. It's a nice dry day. If it was wet and raining, I'd be leaving a 4-second gap. When I see the headlights of the vehicle that I've just overtaken,
1.1 miles, exit left.
I can check my mirrors and signal and move back into the left hand side. So in 1.1 miles I'm exiting the dual carriageway. So if I catch the next vehicle through my progression and my speed, then I'm not going to plan to overtake it because I know I'm going to be leaving the dual carriageway just shortly. So So what I'll do is I'll just adjust my speed to stay that 2-second gap and just drive at the same speed as the vehicle in front, which in this case is a full 70 miles an hour. Might be less on another day.
Exit left, then enter roundabout.
Now looking at the road sign, this lane exits left anyway, so I don't need to indicate, I'm not changing lanes. This lane drifts away from the dual carriageway, as you can now see from the markings. So I didn't change lanes to exit, so therefore I didn't need to indicate.
Enter roundabout, then take first exit.
I'm going to notice that there's a new lane joining from my left, and I want to take the first exit of the roundabout. So internal mirror, left door mirror, signal left and move over into that new first lane, which is merged from the left. And then deal with the roundabout. Keep my signal on for the first exit. I'm close enough to the roundabout to do so. Can't see through the trees to my right. Traffic in front is already stationary, but it's crawling forward now. It's seen a gap. I'm now going to look for my gap, and the gap's still there, so I'm going to take that gap as well. Signal cancelled earlier than I wanted it to, but it was no point in putting it back on. It was obvious where I was going. Going to take the fourth exit off to the right. Internal mirror.
Enter roundabout, then take fourth exit.
Right door mirror, signal right, position to the right. So nice and slow as I come round this bend. Traffic coming from my right, so slower again and into first gear. Waiting for my gap. It's now there, so I'm going to take it. And approaching the right hand side, so staying in the right hand side. Past the first exit, now passing the second. There's the third exit, so internal mirror, now signal left, after the left door mirror, and make my progress. Coming into a 40 limit.
5.8 miles to destination.
Further up we've got traffic lights, which have just changed from green to amber. So checking my mirrors, easing off the gas. Traffic behind is not too close. Now squeezing the brakes as I go downhill. Down into second gear. Keeping the car moving, but I'm still on the brakes. I'm now off the brakes as the lights change. The two vehicles in front have started to move off as I'd hoped. Create the 2-second gap and back on the gas. So didn't go straight back on the accelerator as soon as the taxi started moving, because I was already moving. So I want the taxi to build his speed up before I then adjust my speed to suit the conditions of the road. Coming from a 40 into a 30. Checking my mirrors. Car behind still not too close. Traffic lights ahead. Don't see anyone waiting to cross, but this is a popular cycle lane. There's a cycle lane to the left and Eglinton Park to the right, and with the weather being so nice today, I'm looking out for cyclists. There's been a high volume of cyclists on the road today already.
Arriving at destination.
Pedestrian crossing ahead, no one waiting to cross, so I'm not expecting the lights to change from green.
Drive 0.1 miles, then turn right.
So looking at my sat nav, it's second in the right from here, so it's not this first one into Butt Ridden Care Centre, it's the next one, internal mirror, right door mirror.
Turn right, then turn right.
Oncoming vehicle, so slowing it down, matching my speed to suit the gap, and then taking the turn nice and slow, not cutting the markings. And then this left hand bend, I'm going down into first gear for this bend because I can't see around the wall, and it's a very narrow pavement if there's any pedestrians on it. I can now see parked cars. Looking up the hill, nobody coming down the hill, so I can now make progress. Up into second gear. Strong chance you'll be asked to stop just in the shadows here to do a house start. Internal mirror, right door mirror at the end of the road to turn right. There's a parked car on the pavement on the right hand side, half on the pavement, half on the road. Two parked cars on the left hand side as well, so this junction is quite often got parked cars very close to the junction, and it makes your visibility very difficult. So I'm crawling out, looking left and right, probably looked left and right a good 7 times each direction there as I crawled forward, and making sure it was safe to proceed. It's a quiet area, but do not underestimate the possibility of a cyclist or another vehicle coming from the other direction. Nice and slow here.
Destination on left.
Couldn't see round the bend. I looked up the inside view of the parked vehicles just to make sure that I couldn't see any moving hazards, and I couldn't, so I still progressed with caution though.
Drive 140 yards, then turn left.
I'm going to take the next road to the left.
Left.
Internal mirror, left door mirror. There's parked cars on the bend as I turn in, so taking it wide, looking up the inside view again of the vehicles to see if there was anything coming towards me. Couldn't see anything, but again taking it nice and slow just in case there's a young boy on a bike or something. I've already mentioned probably that it's a nice day, and so there could be kids at play. There seems to be some sort of garden party on the left hand side there. I've got a vehicle reversing from the right hand side. She took her time to see me there, but she's moved forward again, which is great. Got a vehicle reversing into the driveway on the right hand side, so I'm going to move over to the left hand side just in case they abandoned the manoeuvre and they drove up the street. Now it's safe for me to pull out, checking my mirrors and carry on. Got a wave of thanks from the driver, that's fine.
Turn left.
I could have waited in the middle of the road, I didn't need to pull into the curb line there, but just in case they abandoned the manoeuvre and decided to park up on the street, it was safer for me to pull into the left hand side. Taking the next road on the left, internal mirror, left door mirror signal left, follow the sharp turn to the left and then following the curb line. Parked van on the left hand side, again looking up the inside view, now looking out the outside. Very strong possibility you'll get a reverse park, a parallel park on this road.
Arriving at destination.
At the end of the road we're going to turn right and then left. The sat nav will tell me that in a second.
Turn right, then turn left.
Internal mirror, right door mirror, signal right, positioning myself to the corner of the markings. The visibility to the left is very closed, it's quite a high hedge and it's a very sharp left hand bend, so crawling out with caution again. Now dealing with the next junction to turn left.
Turn left, then turn left.
And then the next left hand turn that the sat nav's asked me to take is not this first one, so a quick look at my sat nav just confirms it's not the next in the left, it was the second in the left. So it's the next one. Moving out, checking my right door mirror,
left.
and then internal mirror, left door mirror to turn left. After the signal. Immediately round the bend there's a parked van, but there's no oncoming vehicles down my side of the road, so it's safe to proceed.
Arriving at destination on right. Turn left, then turn left.
So at the end of the road I'm going to be turning left. There's a building on my right hand side that's going to make visibility very difficult. There's a car parked on the left hand side as well, right at the corner. It's also going to make my positioning very difficult as I go around. So this is me stopped at the giveaway markings. My bumper is right on top of them and I can't see to my right. So easing off the brake, the car rolls forward through gravity, which is great. I don't need to balance the clutch. I'm still crawling forward, looking both left and right. Again, very similar to I did earlier on. Looked left and right a good 7 or 8 times each direction there.
Turn left.
You can never be too careful when your visibility is so restricted. This is a tight left-hand turn going downhill. Plenty of parked cars on the left, one of them badly parked, bum sticking out a bit, with the passenger door open.
Arriving at destination on right.
So passing that with caution, just in case it was a young kid that's left the door open. And that would be the end of the sat-nav drive, which, if you're watching all of my other videos, you'll see that that is very similar to another L test route. But at this point, instead of turning left as an L test driver, turning right as an extended test candidate. So notice the parked car that was on approach to the end of the road there. It affected my position on approach, but I still managed to get into the left hand side as best as I could before the giveaway markings to turn right. Because anyone may have been coming up the street or down the street and wanted to turn into the street that he was leaving. So if there's a parked car on approach to your giveaway, still, as best as you can, get back into your side of the road immediately after that parked car. So this is an extended test route, as I mentioned at the top of the video. It's just a bit longer than other roads or other routes. That's the only difference, just a bit longer. You'll still only get one manoeuvre, or one reversing manoeuvre. There's a strong chance you will get the emergency stop though. So we're now into a 60 limit. No pavements on the left and right hand side, so we're going to use limit points to make progress, but carefully as we go around the bends. So limit point to the left, so off the gas. Now the limit point stretched down, I can see the cyclist coming towards me. Back on the gas. New limit point to the right hand side after the opening to the farm. Easing off the gas again. Limit point is now moving out straight ahead, so back on the gas. Checking my mirrors before and after every time I eased off the gas or eased back on again. Got a warning sign with a right hand bend and a junction on the left, and a warning sign below that which is faded. As I get closer to it, I can see that it was a horse rider, or possible horse riders. This is a sharp bend to the right. Taking it very carefully, not too fast. Got a warning sign, double bend starting to the left as it goes downhill into the shadows. Be aware of those shadows on a bright day like this, it might hide a lot of things. Checking my mirrors as I brake on the straight, taking this bend really slow. It was a very, very sharp bend. The limit point wasn't moving at all. There are other YouTube videos available to work out what limit points are. I haven't bothered to make my own version of it. The videos that are there are very suitable, very useful. And if you ever take a lesson with me, you'll understand what limit points are as we do a one-on-one session. Road's bending to the left. Again, taking it careful until the limit point moves out into the distance. New limit point to the right again, so off the gas. I'm moving at the same speed as my limit point is moving. The limit point is effectively my visual limit. How far can I see around the bend? So still bending to the left. As it straightens up, my limit point moves out into the distance. I can check my mirror, squeeze the gas a bit. Same again, back off the bend, back off the gas for this bend. Now we've got a right hand turn, or the road turns to the right. Notice the shape of that T-junction sign. So the priority road turns to the right, the giveaway is on the left. So I've actually got priority to make this turn. But it's a sharp 90-degree turn. And the road straightens back up again, back on the gas. So that whole stretch was a national speed limit, but there was no point me getting up any faster than it was for those bends. Coming back into a 30 now, checking my mirror, squeeze the brakes. Road bends to the right at the top of the hill here. So we're not going straight ahead up into the village of Benslie. We're going to follow the road to the right. And in the distance I can see the national speed limit again, but at the moment it's still 30. So checking my mirrors, checking my speedo, not going too fast. Waiting till I'm head and shoulders past the national speed limit sign before I go above the 30 limit. And that's now, so I can squeeze the gas a bit, but not too much as the road bends to the left again. I'm still using limit points to gauge my speed, or a safe speed round the bends. Road straightens up a bit, checking my mirrors, squeezing the gas. Making progress where possible. Then checking my mirrors and back on the brakes again for the next bend. To the left. All the while being aware of pedestrians, dog walkers, horse riders. Road bends, straightens back up again, check my mirrors, squeeze back on the gas. This time I can go up into 4th gear. Road bends to the right, checking my mirrors, squeezing the brakes. Matching my speed to the limit point, or how fast my limit point is moving. And we've got to give way at the end of the road, we're turning right. So, into the mirror, right door mirror, signalling right, into the corner of the markings. It's a national speed limit road, so the traffic that's just passed in front of me and could potentially be passing in front of me at the full 60 mile an hour limit, or possibly more. So making sure there's a nice big gap in the traffic for me to get out and build my speed up. Double white line in the middle of the road, so no overtaking. Opening on the left hand side. Naturally this road is a bit smoother and a bit wider, so I can go up to 60 miles an hour. It's now safe to overtake if I wished to do so. At the roundabout ahead, we're going to take the second exit off to the right. So, into the mirror, right door mirror, squeezing the brakes, putting the signal on. Position myself to the right. It's a nice open view. Back down to 3rd gear for the roundabout. Into the mirror, left door mirror, signal left to exit the roundabout. Into a 40 limit, 40 zone. So building my speed up, but only to a maximum of 40 this time. Right, the road sort of sweeps to the left hand side and goes back downhill slightly here. Got a side road coming up on the left hand side. Got throw-in markers in the road. Throw-in markers are telling you to get back into the left hand side if you were overtaking. The reason for that is now clear. There's a protected lane for those coming towards me and turning right into that side street. Use the central hazard lines and hazard markings to help you read the road ahead. At the roundabout, we're going to take the 3rd exit straight ahead. Nice open view of the roundabout. I can see there is traffic there, so I'm slowing it right down to a 1st gear crawl. I'm now come to a hard stop, and now I can make my progress. Past the 1st exit, up into 2nd gear. Now past the 2nd exit, so internal mirror, 3rd gear, left door mirror, signal left. And immediately off the roundabout there's a red traffic light, so not accelerating, checking my mirrors, squeeze the brakes. Still in 3rd gear though, so I didn't need to adjust my speed by that much, and I can make progress in 3rd gear. Got throw-in markers again in the middle of the road, and again this time it's because of the island ahead. So the island is there to help pedestrians cross the road, and it's also to calm any traffic down from driving this road too fast. At the roundabout ahead, we're going to take the 5th exit off to the right, going towards the town centre, because so far we've only done dual carriageway driving, a small bit of scheme driving in Kilwinning, and a bit of country road driving. You will notice that an extended test route takes you on all possible types of road possible, except for a motorway, but still includes dual carriageway, which we have done a stretch of. By going this way, they're taking you back in towards a town centre environment. Not necessarily a scheme, because we have already been through Kilwinning and done our left and right hand turns at built up areas and parked cars. So by going this way, they'll take you back towards Irvine town centre, get you dealing with traffic lights and increased pedestrian traffic. So we're still in a 40 at the moment, a couple of pedestrians on the left hand side. Starts to go downhill and I can now see that there's a 30 ahead, so off the gas. It's not slowing down enough because of the hill, so check the mirrors, a wee squeeze of the brake, now off the brake, and try and maintain a nice even 30 along this road. We've got a ramp sign ahead, but I can see that the road's already been retarred, so the ramp is no longer existing. Nice smooth road, but no markings. So when it's been retarred, there are no markings in the road. Be mindful of that if the road that's been retarred is a crossroads, because then you might not realise who has priority. You've got to treat that as an unmarked crossroads, and all 4 roads would have to give way, and just be careful. Basically treating it like a traffic light crossroads during a power cut. So imagine that scenario. Traffic lights are not working, so you don't know who has a priority to go. So it's got some parked cars on the right hand side, which means oncoming cars are just touching the central hazard line. So I've just shifted my position slightly, a bit closer to the curb, just to allow them to make more progress. There's no point in me driving down the centre of the road or a door's width away from the curb if I don't really need to, and allow other people to make progress. But your normal driving position should be about a door's width from the curb. I'm going to turn right at the traffic lights, internal mirror right, door mirror and signal right. Lights are changing to green, so handbrake off. Be aware of oncoming cars, because remember, green means proceed if safe. So although I had a green light, it wasn't safe to make the right hand turn straight away because of the oncoming taxi. I had to wait for the gap behind it. Got red lights ahead, so I'm not accelerating. Just going to let the weight of the car roll forward. Lights are changing nice in time for me now, so now I can accelerate. So by not accelerating initially, I've prevented the need to come to a complete stop. We've got a pedestrian crossing ahead. No pedestrian traffic, so I'm not expecting the lights to change. I'm going to follow the bend to the left and then take the 3rd exit at the roundabout. So passing the right hand road and then mirrors and signals to the right. So there's a right hand turn on the bend there. I'm passing that first before putting my signal on, in case it was misleading and people thought I was taking that turn. Off the roundabout in the first lane, there is 2 lanes here, and we're going to turn left at the traffic lights ahead, so I'm happy to stay in this left lane. Otherwise you would need to go into the right hand lane to go straight ahead. 2 mirrors and signal left for the traffic behind, just to confirm where I'm going. So it's not enough that I'm in this lane with the arrows pointing to the left to tell people that I'm going left. The left hand signal also confirms to the other drivers that I'm in the lane that I intend to take, for the junction, and it also confirms to any pedestrians in the area where I'm going as well. Remember, pedestrians in the area might not be drivers, maybe never sat their theory test, so they don't know I'm in a dedicated lane to turn left. But my signal gives them that bit more information. Lights have changed, checking both my side mirrors and internal mirror before moving off. When you're queuing at a set of traffic lights for any length of time, it's possible, especially on a day like today where you do have more cyclists and motorcyclists on the road, it's possible for those cyclists and motorcyclists to squeeze up between the queuing traffic and get to the head of the queue. We're now in a 40 limit, following this long sweeping bend to the left. At the roundabout ahead, I'm going to take the second exit towards Ayr, which is straight ahead. But if you can see the road sign as I pass it, just behind the trees there, it looks like the first exit straight ahead. There is an exit at 7 o'clock on this roundabout. If you treat it like a clock face, there's an exit at 7 o'clock which is not shown on the road sign. Just be careful of that. So I'm going to pass this first exit and then signal left, having checked my mirrors before doing so. If you're unfamiliar with the area and you signal left on approach thinking that's the correct thing to do based on the road sign, as soon as you see that first exit to the left at 7 o'clock, just cancel your signal, wait till you're past it, and then reapply it. Going straight ahead at this roundabout, it's the first available exit. There's a van coming from my right, so slowing it down. There's a gap behind it that I'm going to take, so second gear, crawling out, staying in the left hand lane, 2 mirrors signal left. Zebra crossing as I come off the roundabout, no pedestrians waiting to cross. Pedestrian crossing ahead, school patrol on certain days of the week obviously. Nobody waiting to cross at the zebra crossing. Cars parked on the left and right hand side, but the road's still wide enough for us to progress at this speed. Traffic lights ahead are red. Got a young boy cycling across. Lights are changed back to green. Now the young boy shouldn't be cycling across, he should have got off his bike and pushed it across, because it's a puffin crossing, not a toucan crossing. A toucan crossing allows you to cycle across. I'm going to take the first exit off to the left. It's clear to proceed after this car. Still a 30 limit, a couple of cyclists on the left on the pavement though, so that's fine. Nice wide road this, and very easy to go above 30 on this road thinking that it could be a 40, and in fact many years ago it was a 40. So just making progress at a nice steady 30 miles an hour. Another pedestrian crossing ahead. Again, no one waiting to cross, so I don't expect the lights to change. And at the roundabout ahead, I'm going to take the third exit off to the right. As you approach this bend, look at the curb line disappear to the left, or veer off to the left, as the road becomes 2 lanes wide. So you're actually staying in this lane to go to the right hand side. You would have to go into the left hand lane to go straight ahead. So there wasn't a change in my position to take the right hand lane there. Two mirrors to come off and then signal left. Pedestrian crossing, no pedestrians. Still a 30 limit. Coming up to the national speed limit though, and then uphill towards a roundabout with 3 exits on it. Fuel carriageways in all directions. open view, open enough for me to make my decision nice and early, so back on the gas, going straight ahead at this one is the second exit, internal mirror, left door mirror, signalling left. Blue car that's just pulled out, probably underestimated my speed and realised that was not a risk worth taking, so I'm fully off the gas, having to slow down. Could have went straight into the overtaking lane and overtook them, but I'm going to be taking the next exit, so there's no point. Internal mirror, left door mirror, signal left, move across to the slip lane, all four wheels across the line cancel the signal, so that when I reach the junction I'm applying a new signal. Whether it's going to the same direction or not is irrelevant, it will be a new signal. I'm actually going off to the right anyway, so internal mirror, right door mirror, signal right, coming down into a 40, very slow downhill, looking to my right, the signal's cancelled, I'm going to reapply that as I pull out. Past the first exit, past the second exit now, internal mirror, left door mirror to come off. Going straight ahead at the next roundabout and then the third exit at the roundabout after that. That takes me back to the test centre. So as I said, this is an extended test route, not every learner driver has to do this. Only those who have had to sacrifice a licence because of a traffic offence of some sort and are having to regain their licence via an extended test. It's not any more difficult than an L test, it's just a slightly longer route, where of course the chance to make more faults will exist because you're on the road for longer. But the same principles apply, the same pass standards are expected. They are not any tougher on you because it's an extended test. If you can show that you pass with the minimum number of driving faults and no serious faults or dangerous faults, then they will pass you and you will regain your licence. Now the end of that route, as I approached Irvine town centre, it can change quite dramatically. They don't need to take you through Irvine town centre, through the traffic lights and things like that, but I suspect that that's the most common end to that route, because up until that point we hadn't went through any traffic lights other than pedestrian crossings. So they want to test all sorts of road types, all sorts of junction types, as much as they can in that 1 hour route. And this video might not even have been 1 hour long, but that's because, remember, on the routes and in all of my videos, the examiner will pull you over and stop at the side of the road and then ask you to drive away again. You will have a reversing manoeuvre, you may even have the emergency stop, and all of those things add minutes to the test, and I'm not showing or demonstrating any of them on any of my routes, because at the moment all I'm doing is showing you the routes and doing the commentary driving. So please check out the other videos and let me know what you think. Feel free to leave comments and like and subscribe and things like that. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again in another video.